It's Wednesday, February 5. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. The World Health Organization, WHO, has developed a treatment for the novel coronavirus. Working with technical experts in health operations, WHO Operational Support and Logistics has developed a 2019 nCoV kit, similar to prepared treatment kits used for outbreaks of higher threat pathogens. As of Tuesday, there were 20,438 confirmed cases of the virus and 425 deaths, with only one of those outside China. The Chinese government says a total of 632 infected people have recovered and have been discharged from hospital. The virus has now spread across 31 provinces in China and 24 countries. Last Thursday, the WHO declared the viral outbreak a global emergency. In related news, the United States is working with a pharmaceutical company to develop a treatment for the 2019 coronavirus using a class of drug that has boosted survival rates among Ebola patients. Officials Tuesday said a partnership between the Department of Health and Human Services and Regeneron will develop monoclonal antibodies to fight the infection, a different line of treatment to the antiretrovirals and flu drugs that have also emerged as possible defenses against the disease. Doctors have also combined the treatment with another anti-flu drug called oseltamivir, hoping the creative cocktail can sap the new coronavirus of its strength. The country can expect to see more of the Zones of Special Operations, or ZOSOs, rolled out in 2020-2021. Addressing the House of Representatives on Tuesday, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang hinted at the possibility that ZOSOs could be matched with declared states of emergencies.
We have discussed with the opposition, as a team, and the Attorney General assured me that she have reapplied herself and energy to the question of having a law that falls between ZOSO and state of public emergency. And she'll be having a meeting very early to ensure that that is brought out, and that discussion is proceeding. A team which includes the Attorney General and members from the opposition, because there does seem to be the need for some legal framework outside of a state of emergency, and not necessarily a ZOSO, which we would not want to dilute either, that will allow, that can be used as a tool by the security forces to bring acute episodes of violence under control while you execute the other problems, the other programs we have out there.
Dr. Chang was responding to criticisms from the opposition that the only two ZOSOs which have been implemented are in Denham Town in Kingston and Mount Salem in St. James, which they claimed are predominantly Jamaica Labour Party strongholds.
And so my question is, Minister, on what basis the only two JLP areas have in ZOSO and the PNP areas have none, not one?
You serious?
We have SOSO and you have ZOSO. Yes.
Nothing in your area?
Nothing. And yet it's under a state of emergency.
He was speaking in the debate in Parliament, which approved the extension of the two zones of special operations, as well as the new state of emergency declared in Eastern Kingston Police Division. Dr. Chang said that the Kingston Eastern Emergency, which was declared on January 26, is already yielding positive results, which will ensure meaningful changes in many of the crime-affected communities.
Mr. Speaker, since the declaration of a state of public emergency, just in the 5 days as of 29th of January 2020, there has been no major crimes recorded within that division. The security forces have also recovered one M16 rifle and over 100 offensive weapons, which were mainly discarded in public passenger vehicles. A total of 90 persons were taken into custody, of which 13 were detained and 77 released after processing. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I can report that a major housing project which was suspended in September 2019 due to an outbreak of gang violence is now set to restart its operations given the additional security presence in the area.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Pernell Charles, has rejected suggestions that he misled the House in a move to delay tabling a special report from the Auditor General alleging fraud at the Caribbean Maritime University, the CMU. Mr. Charles gave a brief statement to the House on Tuesday before the start of the sitting.
The last session resolution was placed on the floor, or from the floor, by a member of the opposition, content of which we had some discussion, and I wish to say to members that I, Pernell Charles, had no intention of covering up or misleading the House in any way. And I have discussed this with the persons concerned, and I repeat, at no time would I be involved in any attempt to make any cover-up for anyone outside or inside this Parliament, and corruption be the other side or other.
2 weeks ago, opposition MP Julian Robinson tabled a censure motion against Charles for his perceived refusal to table the Auditor General's report. However, Robinson withdrew the motion.
Mr. Speaker, in light of your statement, I serve notice that I intend to withdraw the motion, which is standing in my name.
Thank you very much. Statement by Minister.
$14 billion. That's the aim for TransJamaican Highway Limited, TJH, which operates the east-west leg of Highway 2000, when they open up the initial public offering on the market at $1.41 per share. The offer will open on February 17 and close March 9. But just before that, TJH will also be approaching the debt market to raise $225 million, which translates to nearly $32 billion in local currency, or more than twice the prospective equity raise. The bond that will be used to refinance existing debt at cheaper interest rates. TransJamaican, which was initially controlled by French company Bogue Travaux Publics, was taken over by the Jamaican government as part of the privatization of the toll road operator. With the takeover, state-run National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, NROCC, became the toll road concessionaire. NROCC plans to use the IPO proceeds to repay debt used to purchase TJH from its foreign shareholders. And Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, Ruddy Spencer, has resigned his seat in the House of Representatives, formally ending some 25 years in Parliament, including 7 years in the Senate. The formalities took place inside the chamber at Gordon House late last night as the MPs closed the last session for the fiscal year 2019-2020.
The truth is, I am not being pushed out. I reach a time when I feel it's time to go. And I want to say a very, very special thank you to Andrew Hollis, because I told him, Mr. Sermuda, that since that you have two fellows that are bright, and you have only one seat, I will give up one of my seats, Mr. Hollis. I told Mr. Hollis that. And that's how That's how Pernell's son, someone I knew before he was born.
Spencer, a trade unionist and former president of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU, represented the Clarendon Southeastern constituency, which was represented in the past by two former prime ministers, national hero Sir Alexander Bustamante and Hugh Lawson Shearer. both of whom were also presidents of the BITU. Making the announcement of Spencer's political departure last night, Speaker of the House of Representatives Pernell Charles recalled his close association over the years with Spencer as officers of the BITU and the JLP.
I had the privilege of associating with him from the beginning of his trade union career and to the end of the parliamentary career. And I wish to congratulate him and to wish him all the best from here on.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness and members of the cabinet got a pleasant interruption on Monday, fresh from her historic win of the Reggae Grammy for her album The Rapture. Koffee paid a courtesy call on the seat of power in the country.
I grew up always knowing who the Prime Minister was, but the Prime Minister never always knew who I was. So it's a real spin to be in this position at 19 years old. And
Rockstar! I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Everybody here is about Jamaica. Why is Jamaica so popular? Why is brand Jamaica so big? Because almost every year we produce people who keep adding value to brand Jamaica. So, you know, we already had Blue Mountain Coffee. And now we have Coffee. The original coffee.
Thank you so much for having me in your presence. It is an honor. I've admired you for a very long time, and it is great to now finally be sitting here with my mommy, for great things to be sitting here in discussion with you. This one is for all of us. This one is for reggae. This one is for Jamaica. Thank you very much. Blessings.
Pink eye is an inflammation of the thin, clear covering of the white of the eye and inside of the eyelids of the conjunction. This week, the Living Healthy report shares some of the symptoms and the treatment of pink eye with the expertise of Medical Officer Jason Blackson. There are three types of primary conjunctivitis based on cause. They are viral conjunctivitis, caused by a virus like the common cold. This type of pink eye is very contagious, but usually will clear up on its own within several days without medical treatment. The second is bacterial conjunctivitis, caused by a bacteria. This type of conjunctivitis can cause serious damage to the eye if left untreated. And allergic conjunctivitis, caused by eye irritants such as pollen, dust, and animal dander among susceptible individuals. Conditions associated with conjunctivitis include other eye infections such as dry eyes or blepharitis. Also, bacterial conjunctivitis sometimes can lead to very serious problems such as corneal ulcer, potentially causing permanent vision loss. For these reasons, anytime you develop red, irritated eyes, you should call your optometrist immediately and schedule an eye exam. If you wear contact lenses, remove your lenses and wear only your glasses until your eye doctor has had a chance to examine your eyes. Now it's time to hear from the good doctor.
It is a pretty common condition. It usually has its seasons that it becomes a little bit more, you see the incidence increase, but it is a common condition. So it usually has two peaks. One peak is usually around the early summer periods, and then the other one usually begins about November. it usually can be affected by, or usually persons who have other symptoms such as rhinitis, persons who may have asthma, and persons who may commonly complain of allergic variation of the conjunctivitis. But separate and apart from the allergic type, you have the infectious type, which can really be spread right throughout the air. One of the more common types that we have is the infectious variant. The infectious type can either be the viral or bacterial. In either case, it can be spread very easily. The viral probably is a little bit more easily spread. It can be spread by hand-to-hand contact, right? Once a person who may have it, even before they may start developing symptoms, develops the conjunctivitis, they may put the fingers in the eye, and by placing their fingers on somebody else's fingers, the virus may be spread. Once that person's finger now goes into the eye, then they may also spread it. So it may not only be spread from person to person, but it can also be spread from one eye to the other. So it may just develop in one eye, and just simply by the person rubbing the eye may spread it easily to the other eye. So again, the symptoms depend on the agent, right? If it's bacterial versus if it's viral. For viral, some of the things that you may get, you may have that gritty sensation of something being in the eye. Person may have a complaint of constant running of the eyes. Sometimes they may wake up in the morning and say that they're unable, or they may find it difficult to open the eyes initially. These are some of the common complaints that are probably seen in both viral and bacterial. For the bacterial variant, you'll find that you have more of almost like a pus that is developed and maybe running from the eye. So it may become purulent, a yellow discharge may be seen, while for the viral type, you may just have a watery discharge. But in both cases, you'll have the itching, you'll have the redness, and you'll have the gritty sensation. For the treatment, first I'd like to say that I'd recommend that any person who has any symptoms of these should go to a medical practitioner, right? Because you're unable to really tell if it's a simple viral cause versus bacterial. The viral cause usually will resolve on its own, even without any symptoms. So the main thing for that case is simply preventing the spread, probably isolating yourself a little bit, preventing it going to other family members, and just relieving the symptoms. But for the bacterial type, that one definitely will require antibiotics, right? At least antibiotic eye drop. So we usually would use, for example, a ciprofloxacin eye drop that would relieve the symptoms and decrease how long the infection goes for. For the viral type, there is no known antiviral medication that can decrease how long the infection goes. So what we usually do is just relieve the symptoms. We may ask persons to simply use warm compresses, so they get a cloth and put some warm solution on it or damp it, and then place it over the eye, and that will relieve the symptoms, but it won't treat the illness itself. So the main thing is basically some of the things that we recommend in general, which are ensuring that you wash your hands regularly. When you do wash your hands, to wash them thoroughly. That will decrease the spread. For persons who develop the illness, what you want to do is to know the symptoms, know the signs, and by knowing the signs, you can identify it from an early stage. By identifying from an early stage, you can know that you can isolate yourself to prevent the spread from either other persons that you're living with or other persons that you're working with from an early stage. Right. Other things that we'd recommend, separate and apart from, because it can be difficult for you to isolate yourself, is things such as washing cloths that you may be using in the home, things like eye products, makeup products, such forth, that may come in contact with your eye. You want to ensure that you're not sharing with other persons either at the time or close to the time when you're having the symptoms.
The US dollar on Tuesday, February 4, ended trading at $141.53, up by 68 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar is being traded at $107.40, up from $104.51, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $182.52, up from $182.27. In regional news, President of Guyana, David Granger, on Monday conferred Guyana's second highest national award to the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley. President Granger directed that the Order of Romerma be conferred as an honorary member of bringing renewed focus to the CARICOM single market and economy. Mottley is the chairperson of CARICOM. We get more in this news from Newsroom Guyana.
In recognizing the contribution of the Barbadian Prime Minister in strengthening the Caribbean community and representing the economic interests of Caribbean people, Mayor Motley was awarded the Order of RUDYARD on Monday. The ceremony was held at the Ministry of the Presidency Vicinjon Road location in Georgetown. The Order of RUDYARD is the second highest national award of Guyana and was established in 1976 to award outstanding service to the nation. Citizens of foreign nations who are deemed eligible may be appointed as honorary members of order. President David Granger, in brief remarks, said to commemorate Guyana's 50th anniversary of becoming a republic, the country pays special honor to Prime Minister Motley.
Prime Minister Motley, you have distinguished yourself as an ardent advocate of a Caribbean single market and economy. You've combined your almost 30 years of political activism with your personal enthusiasm and your country's legendary leadership in regional integration. We applaud your leadership. We applaud your stewardship. We applaud your willingness to partner with Caribbean states. We commend you on your assumption of office of Chairman of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community and for your long established commitment to Caribbean integration.
Mayor Motley became the youngest ever Queen's Counsel of Barbados. She is an attorney at law by profession and served as Attorney General and Deputy Prime Minister of Barbados and is now the Chairman of CARICOM. She also served as Barbados Ministers of Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment, National Security and the Civil Service in her 30-year political career. In response to receiving the award, Motley said she looks forward to build on the relationship between the two countries to make the country more secure.
We're also conscious that we face a number of existential threats, most critical of which is the climate crisis and the chronic non-communicable diseases. We do not have the population bases alone. We do not have the expertise or capital alone to go on our own. And we look forward, therefore, working with the people of Guyana, Mr. President, in making sure that we can make this region more secure and providing a prosperous and stable future for our people.
The ceremony was attended by a delegation from Barbados along with Secretary General of CARICOM, Ambassador Orwin LaRocque, Minister of State Dawn Hastings Williams, Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Karen Cummins, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, and Chairperson of the Advisory Council of the Orders of Guyana, Justice Yonet Cummins Edwards. Reporting for Newsroom, Esanela Patwo.
As the government of Dominica advances plans to construct a new international airport, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says that there will be a land swap for citizens currently living on the future site of the airport, which is the...
In respect to the land, people who have homes, especially in the Eden area and so forth, we are going to go with a land swap. So they themselves have identified government-owned land in the Wesley area that will be swapping with some of them who will be interested in remaining in Wesley, because the idea is not to just take people's property and look at check and go. No, we have to be a little bit more sympathetic and understanding, and we have been, as a government, sympathetic and empathetic, understanding the reality. So a lot of these people there'll be land swaps. So you have a house lot, you have a house on it, the government's going to buy the house and land, we will swap the land for you, and we'll pay you for your home, so that you have a lot in Wesley where you can rebuild your home, remain in Wesley, eventually enjoy the benefits of the international airport, being in your community.
Mr. Skerrit said that the government will also be building new residences in Wesley, a village situated between the old estates of Eden and Londonderry.
We are also set to build 70 residences in Wesley, that is close to the Northeast Comprehensive High School, where homes will be built also for people who will be interested in getting a home as a swap to their property. So there are different mechanisms that we're using to compensate properly and adequately people for their properties and so forth. So I really want to underscore this. I'm certainly grateful to them.
He said so far there has been smooth cooperation between the government and the citizens.
thus far there has been absolutely no resistance from the part of the property owners. And so we look forward to making the first payments. I believe it will be about $4 million that have been negotiated so far with some property owners, and so $4 million very soon will be circulating in the economy of West Lane, Woodford.
The airport will be built via the Citizenship by Investment program. Prime Minister Gov't says the new international airport will position the island as an upmarket ecotourist destination. The airport's construction has been timed to coincide with the emergence of several luxury hotels and resorts, which will also be built with contributions from the CBI applicants. In 2017, Barbuda was battered by Hurricane Irma. Fast forward to now, where some residents are still living in tents and are struggling to recapture some semblance of normalcy. Environmental activist John Mussington said the disaster recovery process has been achingly slow. The government recently announced plans to break ground for the construction of 10 eco-friendly and hurricane-resistant homes on the island. Mussington claims that a number of the development projects the government has proposed for Barbuda poses serious risks to the island's fragile ecosystem. However, Antigua and Barbuda's Chief of Staff, Lionel Hurst, refuted the allegations. He said the government has done everything possible to bring relief to the situation created by Hurricane Irma. Mr. Hurst said it would cost an estimated $220 million to restore Barbuda to where it was before Hurricane Irma struck on September 5, 2017. And the Bahamas could get up to $200 million at low cost and without policy conditionality from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. This after the destruction caused by Hurricane Dorian last September. The Category 5 storm tore through the archipelago on September 1, killing at least 7 people, with more than 200 missing and damaged estimated at $3.4 billion. The statement was made following a 5-day visit to Nassau by an IMF delegation led by Fabian Brunhurst to take stock of economic development after Hurricane Dorian and prepare for the 2020 Article 4 consultation planned for March 2020. He acknowledged that the hurricane had devastated parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama, resulting in a sharp fall in tourists. Bonhurst said a mild economic contraction is projected for 2020 and that growth is expected to pick up once the infrastructure and tourism capacity is rebuilt. Noted Barbadian poet and historian Edward Kamau Braithwaite has died. Dr. Braithwaite passed away Tuesday afternoon in Barbados. He was 89 years old. Co-founder of the Caribbean Artists Movement, Braithwaite is the author of numerous collections of poetry. He won the prestigious Griffin International Poetry Prize for Slow Horses in 2005. Dr. Braithwaite's honors also include the Casa de las Americas Prize for Literary Criticism and the Busa Award. In sports, Jamaica's senior reggae girls ended their failed CONCACAF Women's Olympic Qualifiers campaign on a high as they blanked Caribbean neighbors St. Kitts and Nevis 7-0 in their final Group B contest at HEB Park on Tuesday. The 51-ranked Jamaicans were led by goals from Captain Khadija Bunny Shaw, Kyla McCoy, Tiffany Cameron, Havana Solon, and Trudy Carter. With the win, the Reggae Girls ended third in the group on 3 points behind Canada, who ended with a maximum 9 points after earlier blanking Mexico 2-0. Mexico ended second on 6 points and will join Canada in Friday's semi-finals. St. Kitts and Nevis ended without a point. The stars of the group, Canada, will face Group A runners-up Costa Rica in semi-final 1, while Mexico will square off against hosts and world champions United States, who topped Group A. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.